in the play-in, but Rudy Gobert is not, at least not for the first game. Who's the pressure on now? Luka says he's happy in Dallas, while Dame has a clear plan for the Blazers offseason. Could either All-Star be on the move this offseason? And is Lamar going back to Baltimore? And did the Ravens actually save money by guaranteeing Odell Beckham $15 million? Let's go. And this just in. Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert has been hit with a one-game suspension, sources tell ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, for his verbal and physical altercation with a teammate in Sunday's win over the Pelicans. Gobert will travel to Los Angeles with the team, but will not play against the Lakers on Tuesday in the play-in tournament. This is wild to me. NBA champion Kendrick Perkins, now we're NBA. Timmy Good Times. Tim Bontemps with me now. Tim, what's wild to me is, I get it if the league is suspending the guy. They spent all those firsts to get him. They overpaid for Rudy Gobert. You have a one-game situation with the Lakers, the team suspending him? Does that strike you as odd?
Yeah, I mean, this whole situation is odd, Max. I mean, you look at what happened yesterday. The fact that Jaden McDaniels, the elite defensive forward for the Timberwolves, the fact that he broke his hand punching the wall, that was a complete non-story compared to the fact that you have Rudy Gobert, the guy that the Minnesota Timberwolves traded all these draft picks to get to remake their roster last summer, punching a teammate during the game when it's a winner-go-home game in terms of being in the 8 or 9 spot in the Western Conference playoffs, which is a huge difference because he gives you 2 chances to go home or 1. And now they're going into this game against Los Angeles Lakers, a team that punishes the rim inside, that is one of the most interior offensively oriented teams in the league, and they have one of the better rim protectors in the league not playing in the game because of it.
I got to say, Rudy Gobert, who, has had a very good defensive reputation, but Perk, in some moments in his career, like at the outbreak of COVID, I know it was a practical joke, but what's to worry about, guys, and gives everyone in the room COVID. He punches his teammate. I know it was in the chest. Okay, let's not make too big a deal out of it, but right before a play-in game? The judgment is not good. How does this affect the actual game against the Lakers, do you think, Perk?
Oh, well, not only just the Lakers, but it affects the whole locker room. And from myself being on the outside looking in, this is something that has built up in that locker room. It seemed like, when you hear certain words like, y'all been letting him get away with too much, like his teammates actually feel that way about him. And whatever the case may be, they have some certain type of feelings, but this just came at the wrong time, right? You got an opportunity right in front of you to further your season, to make sure you get into the postseason. Now all of a sudden, one of your key guys is out, and rightfully so by Minnesota. You had to suspend him because you got to set some type of boundaries for your young stars to let them know that this is not acceptable. And so you can't put your hands on somebody and not think that there's not going to be consequences. So at the end of the day, do you want to see Rudy on the floor against the Lakers? Yes. But was it the right thing to do for as Minnesota suspended them? Yes.
Tim, how does it affect the game?
Well, like I said, I mean, you have the Lakers who attack the rim as much as any team in the league, get to the line a ton. They draw a lot of fouls, and they score a lot of points inside. And now they're going to have the Wolves are not going to have Rudy Gobert out there. And you saw in the second half of that game against New Orleans yesterday, I know Perk is obviously a guy who played a long time in the league, is a big fellow, would know. Nathan Knight came in for a couple minutes in the third quarter, and he got run out of there real quick, and then went back to Karl Towns right away. And Karl Towns is a guy who tends to get in foul trouble. He's a guy who commits fouls over time, and now you're playing a huge game, and you've got Anthony Davis and LeBron James and Austin Reeves and all these guys on the Lakers who draw a lot of fouls. They're going to be going right at Cat from the opening tip of the game because they get him in foul trouble. Now there's nobody behind him inside for the Wolves, and that's on top of the fact, again, can't stress enough, this Jaden McDaniels injury is a very significant thing. He's one of the better perimeter defenders in the league. I have him on my second team all-defense ballot that I'm submitting today. He's a really key piece, and now he's not playing
the two best defensive players, aren't
Yeah, I mean, it's just a huge swing in this game.
Perk?
And to add on to that, I believe Naz Reid is out as well.
Yeah, Naz Reid isn't playing either. Yep.
So Perk, meantime, everyone's talking about, hey, the Lakers have to avoid the play-in and this and that, but in another way, now, maybe it's the best of all worlds for them. They get to, because they had to play with playoff intensity. Here's another one. They have to play with playoff intensity. They are unlikely to lose. And yet it's not the same kind of level of stress as if you have all your best defenders in the game. Is this working out? Did the Lakers kind of luck up here? Seems like the basketball gods smile on LA.
Well, the league messed up by giving the Lakers an opportunity, and this is exactly why I got them going to the finals and representing the Western Conference. They're going to win this game tomorrow against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And you think about the first round matchup against the Memphis Grizzlies, and no offense to Jaren Jackson Jr., I think he's been balling out of control. But history tells us that he has been in foul trouble a lot and can't be on the floor. So when I look at them not having Steven Adams and Brandon Clark, that is a problem, especially the way that Anthony Davis has been playing. The blessing in disguise for the whole Lakers organization was LeBron James going out and Anthony Davis having to rise to the occasion and actually change the narrative and the conversation about him and actually putting him back in that elite conversation with Giannis and Jokic and Embiid. The Lakers right now that I'm witnessing and watching with this duo and the pieces Rob Pelinka added around them, I got them going to the finals.
The only thing I'll say real quick, I agree with you, Perk. I think the Lakers win this game tomorrow, but Anthony Edwards and Karl Towns were incredible in that game yesterday against the Pelicans. They have the ability to win this game in LA. It's a huge spot for them if they go out and play like they did against the Pelicans. I think the Lakers win, but it's a big spot for those young guys to prove
I was going to say something else about the Lakers. I'll say that later in the show. Anthony Edwards is kind of the most slept-on potential face of the NBA, I think, in the NBA. The guy is 21 years old
and he loves
and is
a big
talented
moment.
as anyone.
And he loves a big moment, and this is a huge moment in this game tomorrow. We'll see what he can do.
That is a great point. Two of the NFL week.
NBA Countdown Playoff Preview, presented by Kia.
Welcome to the NBA Countdown Playoff Preview. We are coming at you live from above the Heineken deck at Pier 17. Stephen A. Smith, Malika Andrews, Jalen Rose, Michael Wilbon will be joining us in just a minute from Phoenix. And gentlemen, the playoffs, the play-in, they are set, and here they are. We're going to start with the West here and show you what this looks like. So coming into the day, the Nuggets, the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Suns, they were all locked in, right, to the top four spots. The Clippers, they battled back. They claimed the 5th seed. The Warriors won in convincing fashion. They secured the 6th spot. And then that also sets up our play-in. The Timberwolves in the 7-8 matchup against the Lakers. The Lakers will be hosting. The winner of that clinches the 7th seed. And in the Pelicans and the Thunder, they square off in that 9-10 game. The winner faces the loser of the Lakers-Timberwolves for the 8th and final spot in the playoffs. I want to start here by focusing in on the Lakers. Your thoughts here, Stephen A.
Good for them that they've got the play-in game on their home turf. Good for them in regards to the outright idiocy of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who've made it easier because obviously Rudy Gobert punches Anderson, just sucker punches him, and there needs to be some discipline in regards to that. Who knows what it will be? You know, Jaden Daniels, he injured himself because apparently he punched a wall and he's hurt his hand. So now the Minnesota Timberwolves, they were once compromised up here. Now they're compromised physically. So that's an easier route for the Los Angeles Lakers. I expect the Lakers to win this game. I expect them to secure the number 7 seed and go up against a Memphis squad that is devoid of Steven Adams and Brandon Clark, which means that Anthony Davis will have to show up to save the day in that series.
You mentioned all of the hullabaloo that happened around the Timberwolves. So before